Hello, everyone. My name is Chang. I will be your facilitator for this group counseling session, and today we will be talking about workforce and higher education. So, a little bit about this group session. We will be talking about workforce and higher education, your current situation that you're in. Are you in the workforce? Are you pursuing higher education still? And what were your thoughts when you were in high school? Did you pursue workforce because your family needed to your support, or did you pursue higher education because your family expected you to pursue higher education? So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. I'm so excited. Thank you all for coming. So, to start, we will be finding our roles, who we are, and what we fall into. So, to start, I would like for everyone to kind of introduce their names. What year did we graduate from high school? What can we expect when we finish this group counseling session? And where do you fall into workforce or higher education? So, let's get started. Who would like to get started first?
I'll go first.
Awesome. That's great.
All right. My name is Aaron Vu. I graduated high school in the year 2016. What I can expect to get when we're finished? I expect to learn the different perspectives of how, like, what everyone did right out of high school,
Okay. Yeah.
other than my own perspective.
Yeah. That
And
sounds
what
great.
category? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just agreeing with you. I'm sorry about
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
And what category do I fall under? Right now I'm in the workforce, but right out of high school I fell under the higher education.
Hmm. Okay. It's very interesting. Okay. So the next person who would like to introduce themselves.
Yeah, I'd like to go next. My name is Jason.
Mm-hmm.
I also graduated 16, and what can I expect from this after we're done is just seeing seeing the path that everybody took, uh, seeing how everybody went through their own things, whether it being personal or just business, I think. And where do I fall in? I actually went to workforce first for a good bit, and then I did go to college for a good semester, but then I just felt as though for me, college wasn't, so then I fell back into the workforce.
Mm. Okay, that is a little bit different than Aaron's, but nevertheless another great perspective to look at as well. Is there another person who would like to present themselves?
I'll be next. Hello, my
Awesome.
name is Charlie Wu.
Hey,
I
Charlie.
also graduated high school in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And what I hope to expect from this conversation is to understand the different sides of choosing between higher education or going to the workforce.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that sounds great. And the last person?
Hey, my name is Lincoln, and what thing that I kind of seen, or like seeing other people's perspective of seeing what coming out of this session, is just seeing whoever's like perspective and experience of how they experience through workforce and through college. So for me, uh, I went through college for a long time, so I ended up in the workforce, which I am in the workforce section.
Hmm.
Um, So I went to college for about 5 years and end up being in the workforce
Hmm.
at the end
Hmm.
of.
Okay. That's great. That's great. Everyone has different perspectives, and that's really great. And that is one thing that we will talk about. And our different perspectives is going to bring into light all of the things that we kind of need. And one of the most important aspects that I want everyone to take away from this group counseling session is that whether or not you find your role in the workforce or you're pursuing higher education, we're all working towards a goal. We're all working towards whatever we need at the moment or whatever the future holds for us. So please, if you could share your stories that'll be extremely helpful in learning our own different perspectives. And it's not to be ashamed to share your own story. And whether or not you share your own story is entirely up to you if you want to, but I will not hold it against you if you would not like to share your story. But today we'll just be talking more about perspectives in our roles in our workforce and higher education, why we felt this way, and see if we could, find some sort of motivation in our current situation as well. So I would like to ask, it could just be anyone, how did we initially feel when we first left college? Excuse me. How did we first feel when we first left high school? That's a typo. Is there anyone?
I'll go.
Okay.
So how did I feel when I initially first left high school? Definitely confused. Definitely did not know what I wanted to do until after experiencing what life was like after high school, and I feel like that's what a lot of other students would feel too.
Right.
Yeah, most of the part confused.
Okay. Yeah. And that's kind of the situation. You're never really prepared when you have a big jump from going, into a teenager into a fully grown adult at the time. And it's never really that easy. So can I get another person's perspective on this take? Charlie, how did you feel when you first left high school?
So, when I first left high school, I was still very confused because I believe that when you get out of high school, it usually depends on how your school shapes your education.
Hmm.
And I believe our high school didn't, my high school especially, did not give off a good vibe to continue college.
I see.
But eventually I chose college just because it was going with the flow.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Great perspective. And so, Jason and Lincoln. I'll go with Jason first. How do you feel now about working in the workforce?
Working in the workforce, it's honestly, I guess you could say it's the same feeling of like almost like you say Charlie and Aaron. You honestly don't know what you're going into. Especially going into workforce, especially at a young age, right after high school.
Right.
Like you're still a kid. You don't experience say the college life, and like I feel like going to the workforce. A lot of people expect that like, oh, if you're going to the workforce, that's basically an adult. You're going about
Right.
that. So you
Right.
really have to focus on
Right.
like school work and everything.
Right.
So I think um, the world doesn't really prepare you for either just a workforce or just a pursuit in a higher education. It's just all about of how would go about handling things.
Okay.
And I feel like everybody handled it their own type of.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's why we're here, right? We're talking about workforce and higher education and how
Exactly.
people, go and get their goals. And so, Lincoln, how do you feel right now in the workforce?
How I feel about the workforce is kind of like taking like a big understanding of like taking a lot more responsibilities of just
Right.
because the difference of like the college perspective and like the workforce perspective is just like you take on a lot of more bills and then you kind of started like working a bit more, which is why I kind of like took on more of the workforce because I've on to look into forward of just financial basis of just reaching my financial goals instead of like reaching my educational goal.
Yeah, and sometimes those paths kind of intertwine too. Sometimes when you go to college and you're not exactly getting the financial needs that you might need at the time, or the financial situation doesn't allow you to pursue school. And that is one thing that I feel like many people misunderstand when they drop out of college. Excuse me. Your current situation defines what kind of goals that you pursue now. Given the current situation, sometimes people may not be able to pursue higher education due to the situation that they're in. Let's move on to the next one. This will be our last slide. How we work together. What can you say about your peers? Is life any easier for both sides? What knowledge could you impart to the future generations? And let's just go around real quick. Just maybe 3 sentences about 3 sentences for each. So 1 sentence for each. And so, yeah, what can you say to your peers? Let's get started with Charlie.
What was the question again?
What can you say to your peers?
Let's see. For my peers, I believe if you do want to pursue higher education, you gotta make sure you have that drive to finish. Otherwise, if you don't have that drive, the longer you spend in higher education, the more you realize that it'll take longer for you to get out of it and pursue your life career. Make sure that you always have a path that you want to through.
Awesome. Is life any easier for both sides?
I think for being in school for so long, I think I would rather be working in the workforce compared to just going to school. But I feel like I guess it will pay off once I'm done with school.
Right. And what knowledge can you impart to the future generations?
The knowledge I would say is work during high school. The way you can save a lot of money. Otherwise, you'll be working in college. And when you work in college, you'll have less time.
Yeah, that sounds great.
For sure, you want to make sure you know what you want to do in life by the time you graduate.
All right, that sounds great. Thank you, Charlie. So let's move on to Aaron.
So, what I can say to my peers, would you care to elaborate that question?
So what can you say to your peers? So you could just say, hey, I think you're doing a great job. I hope, when you're in the workforce, you could be, financially stable to the point where you don't have to worry about higher education. It could be something like that.
So what I can say to my peers, I do wish all of you the best of luck after we are finished here, if anything. Yeah, I think that's about it for that question.
Yeah, is life easier?
Life any easier for both sides? I would say they both have their pros and cons. For the workforce, for the most part, you will generally have more of a financial stability if you're in the workforce compared to if you were to pursue in higher education right out of high school. Because we all know those stories of being a broke college student, But I'd say if you were to pursue in a higher education, you are certainly working towards, for the long run, you could say.
Right. And what knowledge can you impart to future generations?
For the future generations, right out of high school, you're young. It's very common to know or to actually not know what you want to do. So don't be scared about stepping your foot through the door. And if you don't like it, just try something else. But be careful not to do it too much to the point where it's going to be too late for you to do anything.
Right. And time is precious.
Yes.
Thank you. And so, Lincoln? Yeah, so 3 questions. What can you say to your peers?
can you elaborate them as I answer them?
Yeah. So
The question. Yeah.
so what can you say about your peers? So what do you have to say for everyone in here? Do you wish them well? Do you wish to impart knowledge to them? Do you wish to say your piece in how this whole entire group counseling session went? It's just whichever you would like to say to your peers.
I think for like to say for the peers, it's kind of like I think when life moves on, you gotta like start being more aware of your surrounding too. It's kind of like know who you are with and seeing who supports you in the end. I think what mostly people kind of struggled through through like college years is kind of like all your I think when coming out of high school, all your friends are like going to different college, going to workforce. Like it's kind of like you feel a bit lonely a bit, although you meet new people up ahead in your steps, but it's kind of take a kind of some sort of like positive note to yourself as you're pushing on to like
Yeah.
as you're going through.
Yeah, definitely. Have a great mindset. You might be alone for this time, but who's to say? You can always make new friends, always reconnect with people as well. And that part is a part of growing up too. Everyone goes away, you kind of learn everything by yourself. And yeah, great perspective. Is life any easier for both sides? Is the workforce harder? Is pursuing higher education harder?
As a person who done both sides, 5-year college and then and going through the workforce at the same time, I think both life is hard because going through college is kind of like you have to deal with being able to financially support yourself to go to college, paying gas, bus tolls, and like any kind of transportation just to reach your educational goal.
Yep.
And then as for the workforce, as you don't have like your parent money support anymore because you're living off on your own, you're focused on like paying your own bills, insurance, phone bills, kind of like a lot of things is just more of a independence wise.
Right. And so, last but not least, what knowledge can you impart to the future generations?
For the future generations, I think what a lot of things that should be inputted of how college should how college in between how college and the workforce people should both knowledge very like seriously, because people look down upon the workforce because a lower class pay.
I see.
But there's a lot of things I disagree, because there's a lot of things going on through educational and the workforce. I think both information should be provided in the high school level ages, that it should give more students in the high school to pick both sides as a wiser choice.
Yeah. So more information. You wish that high school had given you more information. There needs to be more detailing about the workforce and more about the pursuing higher education. And I definitely agree. I think schools can do a better job at preparing everyone for the adult life, because it seems like everyone in here has this sort of confusion as well, and that's perfectly fine to say as well. Yeah, thank you for that perspective. And so last but not least, Jason, what can you say about your peers?
What can I say? I can say there are no right or wrong answers. Do not discriminate yourself out of anything, whether if it's just like you should have just did this and that. But just don't discriminate yourself. There's no right or wrong answer in life.
Right. Awesome. That is great. Thank you for saying that. Is life any easier for both sides? What do you think?
I personally, I don't think that any easier for any side. Whether if you're going to the workforce, money is good, but then there's only so that you can go with just simple education. But then for like higher education, there's a lot of debt that comes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's just always like, it's just whether you feel like as though it's worth it at the end, especially whatever that you're majoring in. Whether if it's what you want to do, it's what you want, it's what you love, but it's just never easier for both.
Ooh, yeah, that's great. Great, wow, great perspective. So the last question: what knowledge can you impart to the future generations?
Generations, live a little.
Hmm.
Just live. Try to find the good things, the good things in the little things. The good things in the little things, and just believe in yourself. Because at the end of your road, you're just gonna the only person that's just gonna be with you is yourself.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah. Thank you. And so we are coming to the end of our slide. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you all gained something from this group counseling session. I will see you in the next session. And yeah, thank you so much. I am so glad that everyone gave their own perspectives on workforce and higher education, what their life was like as well, and how they saw workforce in higher education now versus back then as well. And thank you so much. I appreciate everyone who was able to make it. And yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I will see
Yeah, thank
you all in the next session. Yeah,
Thank you for having us.
thank you so much. I will see you guys later.